Hey, we're live. We are live.
Train 262 provides service to all stations. Hey.
All right.
I don't understand what the hell that is. The trains, I don't know.
We got tamales this year, or is this weekend. You ever been down to the Tamal Festival?
No.
No?
So,
Just a little festival downtown. It's a Mexican festival, Tamale Festival. Downtown Troy. You come on down with those vatos, I say. Be part of the pavilion. You've heard that one before.
only twice. Where's Elks Lodge?
Tamale Festival, Gilroy.
It's an awful big check for $2,500.
What's that?
So that's an awful big check for just $2,500.
All right, let's see here. A couple more links up. We can start. How you guys doing? Got us on the pre-show today.
Pre-show.
Pre-show.
Get to see us. Get to see the inside workings of the podcast production. Brought to you by Coors today. We should start. We should have started this show already. What do you want to start with?
7:03.
Where do you want to start it, big guy?
First of all, I'd have to hit the record buttons for anything to happen. So that'll be the thing that I'd have to do.
Is that right there? Just push that?
Nope, can't touch that. Can't touch that.
How come number 2 doesn't have a green light?
Because I don't know. I look that one up. Should look it up. Shouldn't I?
Select the input.
It looks like Tom on that.
What's my phone making noise?
She's probably going like, "You guys are on the air."
So turn up the volume.
You guys are on the air. Would you turn up the volume?
Hey. See, we have listener feedback.
Our first comment of the night.
Hey, you hoses there?
Hold on.
Anybody home?
Now we're recording. Hey, how's it going, guys?
Hey, folks.
Hello. Weathered Soul podcast pre-show, and it's already like 7:00, so we should have been started on this already. Yes. But we've been screwing around and trying to get ready, and I'm always late. I got to work all day, so when I get home, the first thing that I hope is ready is dinner. So I kind of try to hit that and try to swallow that down before I come on out here. And then, of course, I do all my prep like about an hour before the show. So I probably should do that, probably a couple of days before the show. But things happen.
Well, you got to do a half an hour homework every night.
Well, that too. And then you got to mix it all together. And, you've got it all, but you really don't know what you want to talk about until the day before or the day of, because there's so much happening,
Yeah.
So,
then you got to decide what you want to do when you grow up.
Yeah. Absolutely. Hey, welcome to the Weathered Soul podcast. You've got Bruce Weathered Soul and Doug the Weathered Soul. We're here.
Hello.
Glad you guys are here. You're getting this from the Weathered Soul podcast.lipson.com, and you're live on YouTube right now. And you guys are welcome to come here all the time and come see the Weathered Soul podcast 7:00 on Thursdays. And we'll be here every week that we can be here. But and then you can get us. Actually, we do some extra content after the show, and that is for some very special people who contribute to our podcast, at least $1 a month, and that'll be at the Weathered Soul. It'll be at patreon.com, the Weathered Soul podcast. If you go to patreon.com, the Weathered Soul podcast, you can go over there and you can get some extra content for as little as $1 a month. And if you give me lots of money, I'll even listen to what you say. And then We are recording this exclusively for Stitcher and iTunes and Google Play. That's where you can get us on your podcatchers, or like I said, you can go to the Libsyn website, which is the Weathered Soul Podcast.libsyn.com. And what's going on, Diggy? How's it going, man?
Oh, same old, same old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How's your week been so far?
Oh, pretty uneventful.
Pretty uneventful.
Yeah.
We had a pretty good weekend. Anthony's been down for a couple of days. He gets all tired out. But we went to the San Benito County Fair.
Yeah.
And it was freaking absolutely a blast. We went to the tractor pulls, and it was the freaking loudest thing I ever heard in my freaking life. I'm talking about. It was incredibly loud. I didn't have any earplugs until my wife came back from getting food or wherever she was at. I think she was out running around the fair. And I was using paper napkins that I got, when we were having hot dogs. So I put those in my ears and put those in Anthony's ears because he didn't have his. I'm going like, oh, great, So luckily Angelica was there. She told Anthony, hold your ears, because I didn't know they were going to be that loud.
Really?
But even holding my ears down with those plugs in,
it was still loud.
It was still unbelievably loud that it was rattling my eardrums through my hands and actual earplugs. Is freaking incredible.
What were they, like open header?
They are open header freaking V8s on these. I don't know if anybody remembers back in the day. If you're old like us, you remember AA Alters, and AA Alters were a kind of dragster that they used to run that were a miniature version of a real dragster. Real dragster is pretty freaking long, but these AA Alters, man, they're real short, and they got these tractors that are like about that size, and they just put these great big huge behemoth freaking V8s on them on cat headers, dude, and they just go pull this freaking tractor, this slide weight or whatever it is down the track. It's incredible. We had a freaking great time.
That's great.
And so all the local people get together. There's a whole bunch of local trucks there, and people who have actually pulling trucks from around the area, and then they had some traveling ones that came. The jet one, and and then they had the multi-engine guy that and those guys were loud. I mean, actually, that triple engine one that they fired off wasn't as loud as those smaller ones. I mean, it was just incredibly loud.
Well, that one had pipes going up, right?
The one with the triple engine, yeah, both of them did. I mean, so even the jet powered one, it had the stacks coming out the two sides. It was freaking incredible, man. But but actually for the money, it was a great show. But for the time, we were there for 4 hours, and at the end, it was getting like. Sure wish this was over already. It's getting old. How many times I want to watch them pull this slide down the track, but it was pretty impressive. They had some pretty impressive trucks. I enjoyed myself.
It's a whole competition, right? So they have
for
trials, semifinals, finals.
Yeah, well they were charging, what was it, $10 at the door, so that was $40 for us to get in, and they probably hold 2,000 people there, and it was full. So you got to figure, 5,000 people at $10 a piece. They're throwing a little bit of money out there to the racers and stuff like that. So I would imagine that the purses were pretty decent.
Is there an entry fee to the fair?
There was. We had free tickets, so I wouldn't know what the entry fee was. So I have no idea. But everybody's making money there. Real small fair. I love that fair. It's like one of the funnest fairs that I've been to, man. That's it. I mean, I thought Santa Cruz County Fair was pretty cool because it reminded me of Santa Clara County Fair when that used to be a big thing. The best, or whatever it is, the best 10 days in August or whatever they used to call it. and that was pretty impressive to have that fair. I mean, I lived right in back of the fairgrounds, so I was there every year. It was what to do, because it was the whole fairgrounds. They had everything was going on, races were going on, horses were going on, all kinds of things were going on, and the whole fairground was freaking packed and big, huge carnival, and the animal stalls were there, so they had great
all the
big
agriculture
agriculture
stuff.
stuff, and now it's cut down to nothing. So when we came in and we moved to Gilroy here in 2009, the first time I went to the Santa Cruz County Fair was that summer of 2009. And I was hooked on that. And then I heard about the San Benito County Fair, and I went like, okay, we're just going to go to that and see how that is. It was perfect size.
Yeah,
Perfect size.
excellent. Yeah, when we were kids, we always used to do all the state fair stuff.
Right.
Abby and I did the California State Fair up in Sacramento one time, 100 years ago. That was fun.
I've
That was
never.
that was a lot of fun.
I think I went to the state fair years and years. I mean, I must have been a little kid. I remember going to the state fair, but I don't remember what year it was. I mean, that's how young I was, probably. But it's one of those things where you're going like, I knew I've been here.
Yeah. And when we lived back east, there's every state has its own state fairs, and we used to live near the Connecticut State Fairgrounds, and we used to go there every year. And then they also have one in Massachusetts called the Big E, which is all the New England states have their little state house there, and you go into it, and it's got all the whatever the houses, they have the products of the state there. Like Massachusetts one, has whatever they do whatever they're famous for, and Connecticut has whatever they're famous for, whatever types of agriculture and industry and things like that. Yeah, a lot of maple syrup.
Yeah. But that's what the county fairs are all about. And
they're fun.
It's one of the things I look forward to all the time. So it's just like fall is kind of a favorite time for me too.
Couple of kind of hokey rides, and
the eating holidays are coming up. The eating holidays.
Remind me.
Speaking of eating holidays coming up, or actually festivals and stuff like that, the Karas 6th Annual Tamal Festival in downtown Gilroy on Sunday, October 13th. That's this Sunday from 11 to 7 p.m. Go down to downtown Gilroy. It's a great little festival. It's a free family fun, music, Tamal Fest, main stage, food, kids zone, and a car show. And they get a lot of people down there. So it's a Hispanic festival, and it's really fun. I've been down there a couple of times, and if you want to eat, definitely go down there to eat, because the tamales are great. I don't know how you feel about Mexican food, but I'm a Mexican and I love Mexican food. So
nothing wrong with tamales.
And they got a good car show. In fact, my next door neighbor for a long time used to actually go down there, and he used to show his bikes. He used to build bikes and carts and stuff like that, and they have a little car show for them too. So it's pretty cool. Future engineers or future whatever entrepreneurs, they go down there and they show their bikes. So there'll be those chopped bikes that you see running around, with the big tires. And You'll see a couple of those, but you'll see a bunch of those bikes down there. You'll see some car shows, a lot of low riders, a lot of trucks, a lot of older cars. It's really good, and good food and good booths to go spend your money at, because you want to give the community back some money. Go spend some money at those booths. I'm sure there's going to be local people selling a lot of good stuff. So I love it. I'm going for sure. So that's what I'm doing Sunday afternoon. So
excellent.
Yeah.
Well, maybe we'll see you there.
You've got something to do this weekend.
We'll meet you under the big clock.
You guys going to the barn tomorrow or on Saturday?
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, there's another show this week. These guys sound like a show every week for the next.
Yeah, I know.
8 weeks or something like that. Our next show is Houston Jones, so that's where we're going. Anyway, so the Gilroy Bicycle Pedestrian Commission in the city of Gilroy and Recology South Valley would like to encourage you to encourage you to place your trash cans at the curbside for pickup. Please do not place them in the bike lane. So if anybody knows, there's been a bunch of bike lanes put in all over the city.
You have to do that if you want to get funding for your roads.
Right. So they put in a bike lane, right down Wellburn and there. So, when you put your garbage cans out there, don't put them in the bike lane. Put them up against curb. That's what they want.
Yeah, the machine.
Public service announcements. That's
Yeah,
what we're
yeah.
doing today.
Listen, the garbage truck drivers are very skilled. They can reach right between cars and grab those buckets, and nothing ever falls out of them.
Nothing ever falls.
They never slip.
Yeah,
It's
nothing.
okay. Don't worry.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And starting this week of October 14, 2019, the speed limit on various streets throughout the community will be changing. These changes are in accordance with the council adopted 2019 engineering and traffic survey and aligns our speed limits with the state standard and vehicle codes. The list of affected streets and the corresponding map include below: Chestnut Street, Church Street, 8th Street, 4th Street, Kern Avenue, Miller Avenue, Sunrise Drive, 3rd Street, and Hannah Street. And I'll post this up on the notes at the website. The Weather Soul.
So are they going to raise the speed limits?
They're adjusting the speed limits. I have no idea. I did not look, but you can go to the Weather Soul podcast.libsyn.com and you can get all the show notes there. And yes, kind of that's what's happening. A couple other things that are happening in Gilroy that it just passed up is that you can now text 911 to get your emergency services and first responders to respond to you. So if you can't call, you can text, and then that's
I have a little something here from
Oh,
that.
do you? Okay.
Yeah. Call if you can, text if you can't. Hey, Gilroy. We hope you're never in a situation where you need to call 911, but the city has a new service where you can actually text 911. And if you do, they would only want you to use it in an emergency scenario, of course. There's sometimes, there's deaf people, hard of hearing people, or people, have speech problems and so forth. They want them to be able to use 911 as well. The only thing they ask is, you enter 911, altogether 911 to the to or recipient field, and then make your request, ambulance, fire, whatever kind of emergency you have. Hit the send button, and then they'll text back to you, asking you, what's going on, and they want you to text back in simple, clear terms, no emojis, and hopefully that'll help.
Your tax dollars will work.
Absolutely.
Your tax dollars will work.
Yeah, your tax dollars being spent.
You're gonna like how I slide into this issue that we were talking about before the podcast started.
All right, that's a perfect sliding spot, huh?
That's a perfect sliding spot. So we have a change to the Gilroy Caltrain services, and it's already started back on October 7th and effective on Monday, the past October 7th. Caltrain adjusted its southbound and Gilroy services based on feedback provided by the Santa Clara County riders in a survey conducted April 23rd of 2019. I was not a part of this, but I definitely am glad that they did this. The service changes include Train 262 will provide service to all stations from Tamian to Gilroy Station. Train 262 will also stop at Lawrence Station, which is the station that I would stop at. Train 274 will no longer serve stations south of Tamian and will terminate at Tamian Station. And the last train to the station south of Tamian will be train 268, and northbound service from Gilroy will remain unchanged. So they're changing some of the southbound stuff going on, and
so it sounds like they're taking a train away.
They're actually adding a train.
They're adding
a train. They're actually adding a train. I believe they added a line somewhere down the way. They added a line because they didn't address one of the lines. Yeah, they did. They addressed them all.
Okay, so 262 is a local from Tamian to Gilroy, and then what? 274
will terminate at Tamian.
Wow.
Yeah, that's as far as it goes, and it turns around and comes back. And then the last train south will be at train
268, which is
so that's three. So we used to only have two. We used to only have two out in the morning and two in the evening. And they upgraded and they went to another one. So, and we were talking about trains, right before we went on the air, dude. So,
me, I like trains.
Yeah, he likes trains because Dougie sat here and was kind of changed. I didn't kind of change my mind. I mean, I still have my reserves on taxes and how they're spent and this and that, but I'm not a big tax guy. So, but he was able to sit here before the show and he put some thoughts in my mind that I didn't think about. And so one of the big to-dos is that I took I took an editorial off the Fresno Bee about somebody. This is their editorial staff, and they. I'm gonna let Dougie go on this, but it had to do with the did Gavin Newsom pull a fast one on California with the gas tax? So first of all, I just want to interject before you read some of this is that Gavin Newsom is not the one that passed the gas tax. So this was all done during Governor Brown's administration. So I don't, Gavin's going to do what he wants to do with money, but in the scheme of things, he's not the one that brought the gas tax.
Yeah.
So,
well,
anyway.
Whoever wrote this article, I don't. Is his name?
There's
here?
no. It's the editorial
Oh,
department.
this editorial.
It
Okay.
did have not
From
it
the
did not
Bee.
have a name on it.
Yeah. Whoever wrote it though obviously doesn't like Newsom, for whatever reasons, because it's not really that. It's more of a complaining thing than.
Well, it's an opinion. It's
Yeah.
not news.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what we do here. We do opinion.
So anyway, they're going over why we've had the gas price jump and all that sort of stuff. But I think what the real problem is that we've got a couple of refineries down, blah blah blah, same crap as every year.
Yeah.
I mean, they pull something every year to jack our prices up.
Right.
You got to get used to it.
Right.
Expect it. And then of course we added a tax. Right, and we voted for that tax. It wasn't the governor that decided
Absolutely
to
voted
just
for
pull it
that
out his
tax.
butt.
Absolutely voted for that tax. Not that I didn't
Yeah.
vote for the tax, but the
But I
people of
think
California
the thing
did.
that has everybody upset is in late September, Newsom signed an executive order that lets him redirect transportation funds to programs addressing climate change. And I think that's what's got everybody up in arms, is the fact that we voted for a tax to improve our highways and lessen traffic, and they interpreted that as we can do that without touching the roads. I tend to agree with them. I think the more cars you get off the roads, the longer the roads will last, and therefore they won't need as much maintenance, blah, 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 blah. Okay, I can go on for days. But the response from the state transportation secretary, David Kim, is this. I'll read it. The state is confronting the climate crisis head on. In doing so, Caltrans will be using available transportation dollars to prioritize projects that manage congestion and reduce vehicle miles traveled in order to curb greenhouse gas emissions. So they're making this all about climate. But they should be saying the whole picture. It's not just climate. It's get cars off the roads. But people hate to hear that. Okay, so those who claim the state is canceling projects funded by gas tax dollars are incorrect. Aligning climate goals with transportation goals requires new thinking, not obstructionism. With the long lead time to plan, design, and construct transportation projects, we must act now to achieve our climate goals. And that's comes from California Transportation Secretary David S. Kim. So that's their response to basically, the people are saying, what are you doing with our highway dollars? So if they were to do something, like I said before, my opinion is get more cars off the roads. If there was good, useful alternative transportation, right? Right now it takes an hour and a half to drive to San Jose.
It's not useful.
But it still takes an hour and a half on the train, so there's no bargain there for time. You might save
the train, not so much. The bus,
yeah,
absolutely.
Buses, yeah.
The train, not so much. I mean, it still takes a good 2 hours to get to San Francisco.
Oh yeah, at least. Yeah.
At least 2 hours to get to San Francisco. So I'll say that. So it takes you at least an hour to get to like Santa Clara. That's for sure.
But now, in places like, for instance, New York City, all right, the tolls on the bridges are like $8 each way.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's how they're getting.
Parking
here.
is $30.
Yeah, that's how they're getting here.
$30 an hour, or $50 a day, or $2,500 a month.
Hmm.
It's really expensive to have a car in New York. It's inconvenient as hell. It's like having an anchor holding you down.
Yeah.
So a lot of people, still a lot of people drive into the city, but not into downtown Manhattan, but around it, the boroughs. But the trains are full all the time. People take the trains because it's convenient, it's safer, it's faster, and they can actually do something while they're on the train. The trains have bars,
Hmm.
and they used to have smoking lounges, but you can't do that anymore. Even used to, after they barred the smoking in the lounges, you could smoke between the cars. They don't let that anymore
Yeah.
either.
Okay.
Yeah. But
But
anyway, so that's somebody else's problem. But you can relax. They used to have people playing cards. You used to have like poker games that lasted, the same four guys playing every day after work for 15 years.
mm,
Every
mm,
once in a while they get busted.
yeah.
Some idiot conductor, that's gambling. But yeah, so it was a culture, and
It's
we don't
good.
have that culture here. We have a
It's
car
good.
culture.
It's
We
good to
need to
be. It's
change.
good to be all romantic and stuff like that, as far as your love for trains.
No,
But
like I said, though, it's a culture. If we
it's
had
definitely.
that culture here, it would be different. Here we have
I
a car culture.
I won't disagree with you. I
I
won't
mean,
disagree with
I
you.
mean, throughout history, they made special cars for California, special car colors for California, for
Oh, I remember
California.
special cars for California. Now
Yeah.
everybody's on California code, so I mean, they don't make cars anymore that
No, I mean,
can't be in
special
California.
models like in the
Oh
70s.
yeah,
And
I
yeah,
know.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, cars with special colors just for you can only get in California.
My biggest fear with tax dollars being used for any type of transportation other than what it's gone for now, and I don't have a problem with mass transportation and trains like that. It's the debacle of what happens with these long-term plans of building an infrastructure like that and being able to put a price tag on it and be held to that price tag, because you've got people that are going in there and they're bidding these projects and then they're not sticking to the budget, and then it always ends up freaking going, look at the Bay Bridge.
Hmm.
My God, that was a debacle. I mean, it came in way over budget. It was not safe. They still had to go in and do some replacement of some big bolts and stuff. I hear some real serious structural stuff that was going on there, and so I'm just really worried about the quality of the work, just by history of what's been going on with those big projects. Look, the high speed rail. The people voted in high speed rail, and they're still, they shut down the project, but they're still going to finish that one little section, between, I guess, Bakersfield and
Yeah.
something like that. They're going to
It's
finish.
almost like a test section. Yeah.
Yeah. So
It's
they're gonna,
kinda,
they're absolute that.
yeah.
That's absolutely what they're gonna do.
But
But with that said,
yeah.
I don't like it in the gas tax. Okay, because the gas tax was used for that. Okay, he wants to reallocate it. It's his business. He's the freaking governor. If people are pissed off about it, you can feel which way you want about it. I really don't care. But I want my taxes used for exactly what they were said they were going to be used for. Even though I didn't vote for the tax, the people voted for that tax to be used exactly for what it was said in the bill, in the law, or whatever it passed, in the referendum, the proposition, whatever it was.
Right.
The people deserve to have that used in that capacity. If if we're not going to use that for what it is, then you take that tax off, and then you go ahead and you put that other tax up for a vote to see if you want to do the infrastructure for commuter trains, not high speed rail, commuter trains.
Yeah.
An actual viable commuter train freaking thing that goes through cities and towns and whatever and gets you back and forth to freaking the city. I don't have a problem with that.
Right.
Nothing wrong with that. You kind of convinced me on this whole Portland thing, other than the heap of shit.
Well, you know who we have to
But
blame for all that?
who do we have to blame for that? You're going to tell me.
Grumman.
Who?
Grumman.
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 Grumman. Who's Grumman?
Grumman makes buses.
Grumman makes buses, right?
And in the 50s, all these cities had great electric rail systems running through all the little towns and burgs and down all the streets and stuff. And then Grumman said, what do you need that for? You can have buses.
No, well, they're elected. I just thought you just brought something up that was happening right next door to me at my work in Santa Clara. I was asking my boss, I'm going like, what are these big pillars that they're putting out by the railroad tracks? There happens to be some construction going on the other side of the tracks, which is a sports park. So I actually thought that, wow, they're putting lights way over the train tracks. And I'm like, no, what they're doing is they're electrifying that rail on the Caltrain line.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I guess Caltrain is going to go electric or whatever. I'm
Yeah.
assuming that's what they're doing. It's that they're building infrastructure on that. But beyond that, because I think it's cool. I think the train thing will work. You see, some Mary Tyler Moore show back in my day and all that stuff. And then you see the Minnesota, skylines and Detroit and Chicago and all those. You see the trains going in and out of there and all that. It's, you see that, on the West Coast because we don't have it. You just go like, wow, that's how you do it, and it's like, really, it's for real. That's what you do.
Yeah.
I mean, if you own a car, your car's just going to the store and back because you live in a burg somewhere, right? Yeah.
You could say the same thing about Boston.
Yeah.
Owning a car in the city of Boston, not the towns around Boston, but it is a huge liability.
Yeah.
It's a real pain in the ass.
Yeah. I'm sure it is in San Francisco and
San Francisco
like
too. Same thing. There's not enough parking on the street. There's 27 apartments and there's 2 parking spaces in front of them, right? Yeah. Same things.
Not your parking spaces.
Yeah.
Those are the city's parking spaces.
Right. Yeah. Just because you park there every day doesn't mean that it's yours.
So anyway,
but no, you're right though. And that's the thing. That's the people who are upset by this are upset for the reasons that you just described. They're upset because they feel they've been betrayed, and possibly even lied to. But you have to understand that the people that are doing this don't feel that way because they're seeing it as it's a proper use of the money because it is going to improve the highway system. With fewer cars, the better the highways will be. And then like I said, what I'm trying to say too, just in describing this, like the high tolls that are in New York and other cities, that makes it cost prohibitive to use your car. So you need an alternative, and there is an alternative. So you use the trains. It's not like people in New York City just said, "Hey, you know what? Let's just build trains." That was Portland's idea. They're all eating some flowers or something, and one day came up with the idea of wouldn't it be groovy if we just built trains instead of highways, and they did it.
Because we're the beautiful people.
But that's what it takes.
Yeah. I just kind of had the great insight while you were sitting there talking, and it just went out the door.
You got to take notes. You got to write down these things.
I should write down these things when I'm in here. But I got this whole thing with the tax. Oh, that's what I wanted to say. It's like he should have brought it up as a vote. I think he should have said something to the people and said, "Look."
I think that's a valid point.
I think we went the wrong direction with this gas tax, and I'm willing to say, hey, let's give it up for a vote. And if you guys want to reallocate those funds to a fund that specifically does transit into cities and stuff like that, I don't have a problem with that. Still wouldn't vote for it, but I don't have a problem with that.
Well, and that's the thing too.
So we should be we should be involved in the reallocation of our taxes.
Yeah.
Not just the increase, but the reallocation.
Well, also where it's going to be spent.
Yeah.
Where it's going to be spent. Right. Because if you tell everybody in the state, we want to do a tax to improve your roads, and then take that money to build trains for the cities, then that's a little bit different, isn't it? Because now your roads aren't getting improved.
Yeah.
Now, if they could do both, that would be fantastic.
Yeah.
Or even a little of each.
Well, I see it as a boon. I mean, I would see it as a boon. I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to it, although I wouldn't vote for the tax, but I wouldn't be opposed to it at all. I mean, if you want to vote for it.
Well, I would vote for the tax if they're going to build trains with it, as opposed to not voting for it to build roads with.
I guess if the referendum had said you're not going to get those taxes aren't going to go away. You're just voting to reallocate this from this particular tax. I mean, that's how they're going to have to do it. It's just, and you're going to have to make that decision. Yeah. How much do you want to go to your roads? How much do you want to go to trains?
Right. And they're also kind of bent out of shape. The fact that the state budget has a surplus right now. Why are we adding taxes that are just screwing up poor people?
I heard one of the reasons why is that we're not going to be experiencing a flush of tax money in the next couple of years for some reason. I didn't read into it, but they're saying like this
surplus is going to go away.
They're just saying that we're not going to have that boon that we've had in the last decade. We've had about a decade of boon in California as far as saving our money and stuff like that. Even though you had this, these budget shortfalls. I mean, to me, I take it all with a grain of salt. So, I won't say that they're totally wrong, but I'm going to say that number's probably inflated, I would say.
So what should we hit next? Recall or PG&E?
Oh no, I was just going to go right into why there were so, some people were mad about going on with the taxes and that being reallocated. Is that leads into one of the reasons why some people are spouting off about this recall for Governor Newsom. And I haven't really heard too much about it, other than I've got some right wing friends that I talk to, and they really don't say too much about it. I have one or two friends that will post something about Newsom every once in a while, but he's been pretty low profile, if you ask me.
Well, here's the scoop as I
Go.
found it.
Give me the scoop.
So this is from KCRA Channel 3, reporter Mike Lurie, Luery.
Okay, hey
I
Mike,
said that right.
you're famous.
Yeah, so I'm just paraphrasing from his article, but we got two guys here. One is Orrin Heatle, I guess, Heatlie. He's a retired sheriff from Yolo County, and he wants Newsom out because he blames him for restricting gun rights and not executing prisoners. Yeah, basically that's what it comes down to. All right.
I don't think
so. That's his problem.
Yeah, I don't think I heard that, but
Yeah.
what I heard is I heard one reporter was asking somebody like, "Well, what's the matter?" He goes, "Well, I just don't like his policies." I'm like,
okay, good. Yeah.
Wow.
That sounds like that
sounds like recallable material.
Yeah. And the second one is James Veltmeyer. Okay, and he's actually from Ecuador. I mean, he's a immigrant.
Yeah.
But he blames Newsom for turning California into a sanctuary state. He says that Newsom is a political extremist, and he wants to get rid of him to go with somebody that will be more on the let's say level side, according to him. Anyway, it was an interesting article, but yeah, that's about what I took from it. It's one of them says that Newsom is way too left, giving the state away, and the other one says son of a bitch wants to take some guns away. Let's get rid of them. And that's really what I see from this recall. And then they're just using the same old political ping pong game that they've always used in the past, where it's just like, he said, she said, no, he did, no, she did, no, and it's all bullshit. The real fact of the matter is one of them's a Republican that wants to save his guns and kill people.
Yeah.
And the other one is a Republican who wants to kick homeless people to the curb and send all the brown people home. And that's what it comes down to. Period. It's they don't give it. They didn't win the last election. I mean, the Newsom had 63% of the votes. All right, so they got their asses kicked up and down the state from top to bottom. Yet that didn't satisfy them. They got to start drumming stuff up and making a big deal, and it's going to cost us a lot of fucking money.
Sounds
and it's going to
familiar.
Screw up our government.
Sounds familiar.
Right, and then we're going to get a new governor. I don't want to hear about it. I'm sorry. Vote no on Prop C.
I heard nothing to convince me that Governor Newsom should be recalled at all. I mean, because I've got to admit, I try to be as fair as possible with everybody that I chat with and everybody that I talk to, and I post, and I post some pretty outlandish shit, and I get people's ires up. But the fact is that I'm really level-headed when it comes down to politics. I mean, if you really sit down to talk to me, hey, because I sit down and listen to you. It's like, hey, we're all in the same bus. It's just how we get there. You got a different way of going than I want to go, but somewhere we're going to meet in the middle and do that. But what's happening is that we're not meeting right now at all. We're just kind of paralleling each other, seeing who's going to get there fastest by the way that they want to get there, right? And that's kind of not the way it's supposed to be.
No,
But
I'm not here. I'm not here to compete. So I can tell you with an open heart that I really don't care if you want to be wrong.
I've stopped competing myself. I'm right and you're wrong, and
say okay with me if you want to be wrong.
And until you convince me that you're right, screw you. Right?
Yeah, I still love
that's
you.
how we really feel about each other. It's just like we don't really care.
I still love you even if you want to be wrong.
I'm still gonna come over and drink rum fucking punch with you, dude. It doesn't really matter. Want to eat some good food? Come on over, man. Let's eat. Whatever.
Absolutely.
So
I think that recall thing, and neither one of these guys really said anything about Newsom's reallocating the taxes and stuff like that. About the what we were discussing earlier about the highway funding going towards climate change. They're just one wants to get rid of brown people and one wants to save guns.
Well, he's not coming after my guns and whatever with the brown people, because they're here.
Yeah, and I hate to say it, but if and then of course they're gonna say, oh wow, the gas prices went up, that's Newsom's fault, blah 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 blah.
Oh no.
Right, yeah, on and on and on. Just like they did with Gray Davis.
No, we can talk. No, we can talk about the gas prices all day long if you want to, but I mean, we all know what that's really about. And if you don't know, then you should know. So one of the reasons why is because the gas companies always come up with some reason to do maintenance at a certain time of year, or something breaks down at a certain time of year, and then they have to change their fixture at a certain time of year, and then they raise up gas prices, and it's a little temporary. And I understand that it's hard for the people that most can't afford it.
Yeah,
I mean, it used to be hard for me when that happened. I'll be honest with you.
Just think back over the last couple of years.
Yeah.
I mean, we've had spikes. We had spikes for what? Gas was almost $5 a gallon at one point.
Apparently, it's almost that somewhere in some places now.
Oh, I'm sure, like in the city, it is. Yeah.
Because here we're still playing.
Central Valley is cheapest.
I think I played $3.89 the other day or something like that at Costco. But I get to go to Costco, so white man's privilege.
Yeah, and $3.99.
Yeah,
and I'm one of those people that doesn't drive all over town to save, because you figure, okay, I'm buying 11 to 17 gallons of gas, somewhere in that range, to fill my car up, and
so $1.70 more, or $1.70 less.
Right. So I'm not going to drive all over town and wait in line for an hour and a half. Doesn't make sense.
You're right when it comes down to that. But I've been in those situations where 25 cents a gallon was kind of like, geez, really?
Yeah, well, and the thing is too, when you're commuting and you're filling your car up every week, you're doing 315 miles worth of a commute.
400. I'm doing 400 a week. Dude.
Yeah, right. So you're filling your car up on Monday and then having to fill it up on Friday again. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Or then
fill it up tomorrow morning.
Yeah, and then the next Thursday, and then the next and then the next Tuesday.
No. I got it on Monday and Fridays. That's what I do. Monday morning and Friday before I come home.
Okay.
So Friday at lunchtime.
So you start the week out with a full tank.
So tomorrow, before I go to Elemental, I'll stop at Costco. I'll go to Elemental, come back to work, go home. And then Monday, when I come to work, after I get done working out, I go to the gas station. So
top
Monday
and
Friday.
Get you through the week.
Yeah, get me through the week.
Yeah, because you got one commute out of the way now.
Yeah. Then Anthony sometimes wants to do it on Sundays. He goes, "Let's go fill the car up with gas." That's what he likes to do.
Yeah. Well, if your cars are full anytime, you can come fill up mine. But so that's all. It's just all part of it, isn't it?
I saw something on China, dude.
Yeah.
The NBA in China, dude.
Yeah. I wanted to bring that up if
Go
we have
ahead.
time.
Well, let me bring it up with this.
Okay.
Fuck off, China.
Yeah. Holy cow! I can't believe this crap. I really can't believe this.
Tell me about it. Because some of the audience knows, but some of the audience don't. South Park came out and they said their little 2 bits last night.
Oh, I didn't see it.
Fuck off, China. And
I didn't see it.
You'll have to see it. I ruined it for you.
No, it's all right.
So go watch it tonight.
I already had the episode playing in my head.
Fucking hilarious. So anyway, go ahead.
Well, we're supposed to fight for the freedom fighters, That's what this freaking country is based on. That's
Right.
been our thing.
Uh-huh.
You know, get
Uh-huh.
rid of the oppression. You know, get rid of the Kaiser and get rid of Nazism and get rid of the emperor. And you know, we've been fighting war. Hundreds of thousands of people have died
Yep.
for freedom.
Yep.
And now it's like, oh, we didn't like what you said, so we're not going to show your games here anymore. And everybody's like, oh, please, 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 we're sorry. It's okay. Go kill your people.
It tells you. Yeah.
Holy shit.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's horrendous, man.
Whew.
It's really horrendous.
Yeah, you see right here. I got here. China can go fuck itself. How could we let this happen? How could we let them get that sort of hold over us?
Money, man. It's consumerism.
Yeah, it's $1.5 billion a year.
It's consumerism. It's capitalism, or not capitalism. It's crony capitalism. It's a lot of sickness going on there with the far fringes of each way you look at it.
And I think we're playing it totally backwards.
And
we should say, hey, China.
Yeah.
Hey, all you Chinese people, you want to see basketball?
Yeah.
Well, then guess what? Tell your government to leave Hong Kong alone.
Yeah. Because we're cutting off our feed.
Yeah.
Goodbye. I mean, that's how you deal with that. You deal with it. You deal with it with your dollars and how you vote. And here's how we're going to end it up. I know you don't watch it, but I fucking love it, dude. We're talking about WWE, and I want to tell you something about voting with your dollars, so you can vote with your dollars with the NBA and what they're doing in China. You can vote that way. You can just say, hey, you know, fuck you guys. I'm not listening, and I'm not buying your
sneakers and your basketballs and your hats, and I'm not watching your shows.
Absolutely. And I got that lesson taught to me on Sunday when I watched the Hell in a Cell WWE, and boy, did they freaking lay a fart, dude. They laid a fart so bad I sold my stock in WWE on Monday morning. That's how bad it was.
Wow.
That's how bad it was. So
this is coming from an avid fan.
This is coming from an avid fan. Well, let me tell you something about me and my investing. I invest. If I talk about anything investment here wise, do your homework on everything. I don't ever claim that I'm making money or losing money in investments, but I'm invested in WWE, and it was so bad. And I've seen this promotion and their business, at least their business in the wrestling ring, is going downhill. Now, whether they need that or not, I don't know with McMahon's business model, because he's all over the place with all kinds of movies and production companies and football thing. He's got his fingers, you know, in a lot of things. WWE is a lot of things to a lot of people. So the quality of their TV show doesn't have to be on par with an upcoming like AEW, but I was so disgusted in what I saw and the way that they handled it and the way that McMahon let his, you know, budding promotion of what made him what he is do that. And as an investor in the company, I was extremely freaking mortified by it, because I just going like, this is just the wrong way. And it really is. Anybody who doesn't know, they had a King in the Ring. It's if you're not a wrestling fan, you wouldn't know what I'm talking about. If you are a wrestling fan, you know that there's a cage around the ring, and both the wrestlers get in there, and it's a no holds bar. There's no rules, no nothing. So Seth Rollins went in with the Freak or the Fiend or whatever his name is, Bray Wyatt, and they had this. The whole show was under red light, number one, in a red cage. So they got this
dramatic,
just so dramatic. So the first thing that pissed me off is that I'm going like, I'm not going to have to watch this freaking match in red light. Fuck yeah, I did, dude. The whole freaking match. So that's the thing.
So you can hardly see anything.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty much. You're under a red light, and then you know what? The wrestling was okay up until the point where it started to get serious with who was going to win and who was not, you know, and they're hitting each other with everything but the kitchen sink.
Well, when the wrestlers can't see their handlers anymore, how do they know what to do?
Well, not only that. Okay, so Seth Rollins Seth Rollins gives his signature move like freaking 12 times. and the Fiend keeps getting up and stuff like that. And finally, Seth hit something. I don't really remember what the combination was, but he hit something, and then all of a sudden he starts piling chairs and stuff on top of him, and then a
Where did all these chairs
ladder
come
on
from?
top from underneath the ring. So
Oh,
he knew. The final thing he does is he gets out a sledgehammer, which Triple H has used fucking billion times in the Hell in a Cell. Okay,
sure.
but no. Seth can't use that.
No.
So Seth freaking hits everything with a sledgehammer, and the referee calls for the bell.
Really?
Yeah.
Counted him out.
No, it's like a DQ. They didn't say DQ at the time. Okay, they let the audience stew, but it was a freaking mess, dude. You should have heard the boos. I mean, huge boos. People were throwing stuff. And
Wait, the wrong guy won?
no, it's like there's not supposed to be a disqualification. They wanted the fans deserved a winner. They didn't get a winner.
Right. Okay.
And they didn't care whether it was
yeah.
Seth Rollins or the Fiend. I mean, the WWE universe is split down the middle of
Right.
who they
Why
like.
would you? Yeah.
So it doesn't really matter who wins. They wanted to see somebody win. They didn't want this disqualification because there's not supposed to be a disqualification. There's not supposed to be a stoppage. But for some reason, they wrote this in. And believe me, it freaking pissed me off, dude, big time. I mean, I've been watching wrestling all my life, and you can laugh and think I'm silly and anything like that, but I was, that's one of my major forms of entertainment.
From what I remember about wrestling, that they most likely did that for the controversy.
Absolutely did it for it just didn't. To me, it sat the wrong way.
Yeah,
and let me tell you, there's I remember wrestling. I've been around a lot of wrestling for all my life. I've seen wrestling promotions come and go, but they got this upstart called AEW.
That was on last night.
And they were on last night.
Yeah.
And they're not filling arenas like the San Jose Arena or anything like that, but they're filling college arenas. They're selling they're selling out the 7,000, 8,000 seat arenas, which is, and they got a full-fledged TV show with pyrotechnics and the quality and the old sound that they used to have with WCW, and it's working. Let me tell you, it is working for me because
I watched about 5 minutes of it.
I asked Dougie to, I asked Dougie to look at it, and I know it's just. To me, it's the same old thing, dude. It's the same old
thing. The acting is just as bad.
It's just as bad. but the quality
the characters are just as wacky.
The quality of the product right now between AEW and WWE is different. And it's different in many different aspects. Like WWE has a faction called NXT that they're like the training camp for the big shows, but NXT is now like its own little thing, and they've got good wrestlers and stuff like that. So that one is actually really, really good. I mean, if you want to see the talent where they're doing,
so it's kind of like the farm league.
Yeah, they're kind of like doing a lucha libre thing, more of a freestyle type of wrestling with people, honing their craft. Let's just say they're honing their craft, and they got some big stars down there that help them out. That push them forward. And then you've got the WWE product with Raw and SmackDown, and both of those are they're just beating them to death with some of the stupidest storylines I've ever freaking heard, and it's just not interesting anymore. And I'm running over to AEW, and I ran over to a couple of different ones. Lucha Underground was popular for a couple of years. They ran out of money. New Japan Pro Wrestling has been a staple of mine for 30 years, easy. I've been watching their show, and this AEW is run by Cody Rhodes. Dusty Rhodes' son is one of the investors and the manager, CEO, whatever, an officer in the company. And they're for no doubt. They're going for it. They're going to compete with WWE. They said they don't want to take over WWE, but I mean, it would be nice for them to be up there competitive with them. And I think that they got the product to do it.
Yeah.
And WWE, you fucking laid a big fart, dude. You really did. You laid a big fart, because I know I'm not the only one that sold their stock.
Not being an expert on any of that. stuff, just watching the show.
Yeah.
Uh, I thought the show was okay. It was typical bad acting and stage stuff, way over emoted, right?
Yeah.
But it was a good production.
Yeah.
I think that it would have been entertaining for somebody who liked that stuff, and the people in the crowd seem to be going ape shit.
They're going ape shit about it, dude.
Yeah.
They're going ape shit. In fact, they're going out of their way to really quash down some of the WWE stuff, because a lot of people were bringing the WWE stuff in, and Jack Swagger was one of the guys that used to be in WWE,
Right.
and he was always, "We the people." That's what their chant was. Well, they started doing that last night at the AEW.
Yeah.
And Chris Jericho was up there. He's the champion. He was going like, "That was that other day.
Today
That was the
different.
other day. This is Jim Haggard." That's what his name is now. And this is Jim.
Yeah.
And they were going like, and they stopped, dude.
Yeah.
The freaking wrestling crowd
Yeah.
stopped, and they just went like, "Yeah,
That shit's trademarked,
And they're
and I don't
going
want to
like,
get sued for it, so
no,
shut up.
no, it's not trademarked, and they don't
Oh.
give a shit."
Okay.
Because that's what
Well,
that's
if I
what-
know McMahon, he'd want to sue him for that.
he would want to try
Yeah.
to sue him.
Yeah.
But he would look very bad in the incident and lose it even more. But
Well,
I mean,
I think it's good. It's
don't-
good that there's a competition. I mean, it
Yeah.
gives people a choice.
at least in that arena of WWE,
Well,
because
that's- yeah.
WWE is way different.
Well, that's what I
WWE
was
is a
gonna
toy
say.
division. WWE is a movie house.
Yeah, yeah.
WWE is a football league. The WWE brand is a bunch of like,
right,
just
but,
like-
and it's
yeah.
big.
and it's big.
Yeah, I
so
was
I
gonna
mean,
say it's a small
wrestling-
arena. So it's-
wrestling is
it'll come to smaller towns.
Yeah.
Which is good for those people. They
Right.
don't have to pay an arm and a leg $135 for a ticket
Right.
to go see Hulk Hogan
Right,
or whoever.
right.
It's like $25. You
Right.
go with your kids, you have some popcorn and beer, and you
Exactly.
watch
So
guys
it's
jump
still
around.
quality entertainment, but I mean, I just think that that as an investment in my investment dollars is no. I'm not going with them anymore.
Do we want to talk a little bit about investment dollars for a second?
Yeah, let's go ahead. Talk about some
PG&E
investment
stock
dollars.
dropped 30% today. 29%, I think I heard on the radio.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Wow. That is, if anybody knows, well, I'm sure if you're tuning in Gilroy, Morgan Hill, that you know that we've had power outages. Not Gilroy, but at Morgan Hill, they had power. It was really eerie this morning going to work. I mean, I'm going up 101 to my work, and I'm passing by Cochrane, and I'm looking up at Anderson. It's pitch dark.
Yeah. Well, now that this has become a reality,
Yeah.
People around here are very, very spoiled.
Yep.
Where I grew up, power would go out all the time, 2-3 times a year, sometimes for a week or 10 days at a time. If it was a really bad storm, bad ice storm, or hurricane, it could go out for 2 weeks, no problem. So, as technology has increased, I mean, I remember the first time the power went out for a week, I was chipping ice off the top of my fish tank to feed them. It was pretty bad. It was in February, but now the power goes off. People don't even know it because they have UPSs or the power goes off for 45 seconds and the generator kicks in.
Right.
They have all that stuff wired in, which I think is a reality for people here because, because
absolutely.
PG&E is not going to harden their infrastructure in our lifetimes.
No, not in our lifetimes. And that's exactly the same thing with, like you're talking about the trains and stuff like that. It's not in our lifetimes, but it'd be nice to have it coming. But yeah, on that note, I mean, we've had our opinions about this, and I agree with you that hey, this is what you get for suing us, and it's not.
Yeah, well, yeah,
and it's not as vindictive as it
Right, no.
sounds. It's not as vindictive.
They cannot be sued again. They're self-insured.
Yeah,
they have no money left.
They have no money left. And
What are you going to do? Kick a dead horse?
Yeah, nobody's insuring them.
Yeah, then you have no electricity.
Nobody's insuring them. But somebody else brought up a very valid point to me today. And it's the only thing that I have really that I think is fair with PG&E doing this, okay? Yeah, but basically their liability tells them that they have to. People with these trees and stuff that are sticking up in the lines, they're liable for those trees, not PG&E.
Really?
And the Department of the Interior for federal lands and the state forests and stuff like that. Those people are all liable for what's going on with the trees, because the PG&E doesn't own the land under where they run their lines.
I thought
Now,
they had a right of way.
they might have a right of way, but they
So-
still don't own the land. So you're still, the owner's still using the land, even though it has a right of way. And if you're growing trees that are growing up underneath there, and they're on the transmission lines, hey, you bear a piece of the responsibility for that. That'd be the federal government, that'd be a private farmer or whatever, whoever has transmission lines over his land. And that goes for state governments too. I mean, we all have a shot in this now. We all have to take care of that.
Right.
And I think that's one of the things that we need to help out. And I hate
And well,
saying
also
this,
people
but
have
help
to
out
understand too.
PG&E and ourselves to
But
not let this happen again.
It doesn't even take a tree branch or something like that, or even a wire to fall off. It could take a wire swinging to the point where it breaks and makes.
Yeah.
And then, at 200,000 volts, you get a spark, you get a little ball of burning metal come off. And, in 75-mile-an-hour winds, the ash from a cigarette could start a fire, burn half the state down. Right?
Yeah. Well, I think the situation. Did they find out what the cause of the fire in Moraga this morning?
No.
Did you hear about it?
Yeah, I heard, but I don't.
Okay, yeah, I don't know. I haven't listened to the news tonight, but yeah, that's I don't buy into this argument that the mismanagement of the forest happens to be part of the problem. The burning stuff on the ground or what hasn't been cleared out on the ground. Because I've never heard of that before, about them going in there and kind of deforesting the forest, to keep
fire suppression has caused a problem where there's too much duff. The duff doesn't get burnt off every 2 or 3 years, so the duff gets deeper and deeper and deeper, and then when you do have a fire, it's got so much bloody fuel. So that is one thing. That's because we've mismanaged by suppressing the fires.
Well, we've by suppressing the fires, and also by suppressing the idea of going in there and having to do it.
Yeah,
I mean, so it goes both ways. The environmentalists had their hand in that too. So I think what happens is that you don't suppress the fires, but you got to be freaking smart about it. But then again, like I said, you got personal responsibility with this tree thing, on whether trees or bushes or whatever you have around your house is it could be responsible for a line coming down or something like that. I think that they have to be aware.
Oh
of
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I know. Once again, in New England, we have storms that come through.
Yeah.
And there's times where there's trees falling all over the power lines, or the power lines get coated in ice and they all fall. They all fall.
Right.
The power company doesn't like turn off the power when a hurricane comes or whatever. They let it go until it breaks. Yeah. But a lot of water involved there. But maybe a few people might get electrocuted. That's about it. At any rate, the power company does hire arborists and does have their own crew for trimming trees that grow into the power lines that go down the streets. They do that. But power line on your own property, it's the power company's power line up to your house, even if it's a quarter of a mile, that you have to rent all that from them. So you're renting it from, so they'll come and restring it and reconnect it. But it's your inconvenience, so that
when it goes down. When it goes down. But
and it also, the power connected to house isn't like here where you have a pipe coming out of the house with the wires hooked to it.
All right.
No, you have a big fat cable that's stapled to the side of your house, and the power utility hooks to that, and then if the wire gets hit, it pulls all those staples out and goes down to the ground without breaking the wire. Yeah.
I got it.
Yeah.
I got it.
But anyway,
well, we're pretty freaking spoiled here that we don't have
Yeah.
any kind of natural stuff that happens, like storms
right.
and hurricanes
Yeah.
and tornadoes and stuff like that
But
takes out power for weeks. I mean, I understand that. I always wondered, I'm going like, fuck, that'd be suck living in fucking Florida.
Yeah, hurricane comes through.
Hurricane comes through.
Your sump pump doesn't
'cause
work.
I wouldn't know, dude. Fuck, I go crazy, dude. Fuck, a couple hours, dude. I'm going crazy, going like, shit, when the fucking power go back on? I'm telling you, I hate it, dude. I really hate it. But yeah, I mean, PG&E's got to do what they got to do. I mean, this is what the people wanted. I mean, when the people went to go sue them and make them liable for this and sent them into bankruptcy, I don't think that it's any surprise that they do stuff like this.
And I'm really curious as to what the logistics involved in building a community in a forested area, especially pine. Where you walk out your door and it smells like kerosene because all the pine pitch.
Right.
Building communities, in those areas. Why those houses are allowed to be built and insured without the insurance company needing to take any liability.
I'd have to agree with that too. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
I mean, if you're going to build a house there, then you know that you're in a fire zone.
Yep.
If the insurance company insures you, they know you're in a fire zone.
Yep.
If a fire happens,
yep.
What's supposed to happen next?
The insurance
you sue the guy that caused the fire?
No, you use your insurance that you bought
right
for your losses.
Because a utility that's required to bring you electricity, wire falls off and starts a fire, burns your house down. You get to sue them. Then they're going to say, "Fuck you! I'm going to take your electricity away."
Yeah,
boom,
much.
Bada boom.
Yeah, bada boom. And that's how it would happen actually in the free market. It really would.
Yeah.
I mean, but you would have more than PG&E to go with.
Right. Well, that's the other thing too.
Yeah.
Regardless of whose transmission lines fall off, if you had 8 power companies, then only one of them would get sued. Right?
Depending on what you're talking about, but that's why you have insurance. But that's why you have insurance, because that's what they do.
They turn power off in 30 counties.
Yeah.
If there was 30 power companies, one in each county, each one had its own liability.
Yeah.
Then it's like if that county lights up, then only that power company gets sued, not all the rest. So we don't suffer for it.
That's true. But also, I think there should be more than one power company per county. So that's
whatever. It's just an example.
Example.
Where we could be like Texas, where I think Texas has something like 235 different electric utilities in the state.
Man, fucking fantastic, dude.
Trying to look at the solar. Every one of them's got their own little gig for rebates and hookups,
as well as should be, because that's the way the world works, man.
Let's see, I had another.
You got one more thing? Nah, because
go
ahead.
Just 2 quick things. The locals.
Okay, local things. Go ahead.
We had a drive-by shooting.
Yes, we had a drive-by
over
shooting.
10th Street. 16-year-old boy was shot. Some kids drove by in a car and shot a couple of rounds out, and one of them hit a kid.
Yeah.
I guess it didn't do too much damage. He's out of the hospital, but still, that's a little too big city for our little town.
Yeah,
for me.
Yeah,
that I'm not happy with that.
Yeah. So in all the years that you've been here, is that like I mean, I've heard of one other shooting, I believe, since I've been here in 2009.
Yeah, there's been some gang related crap going on, but not like a middle of the afternoon drive by.
Yeah, we haven't had any of those sweeps lately that Laurie Smith was really famous for. That multi-jurisdictional freaking gang thing that they used to have every other year or every 3 years. Maybe it's coming. You never know.
And Google bought 40 acres. I'm not sure exactly where. I think on the east side. They bought 40 acres for $2.1 million, and they're going to use it. It's farmland, and they're going to use it as farmland. They're going to grow trees. You can use it as a nursery for plantings on their campuses up north.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. 2.1 million for 40 acres of farmland.
That's kind of cool.
So now you know what the developers pay. 40 acres, they'll put 1,700 houses on that and sell them each for $1 million.
Right.
Sorry,
but I'm sure that landscaping. I know what landscaping costs. So it's for me just to landscape this yard is a pretty penny.
Yeah.
So imagine landscaping a freaking campus.
Oh yeah,
that is quite expensive.
Right, especially if you want.
This is probably a bargain for them doing this.
Right, and also when they redo their motifs or whatever,
right.
They could put in mature plants.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So it looks. Yeah, you don't have to wait 5 years for it to look good.
Very smart. Very smart.
Yeah,
it's a good time, man.
Yeah, right on.
Had a good one.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Hey guys, we want to thank you for being here. You can get us at Libsyn.com. That's going to be the Weathered Soul Podcast.libsyn.com. That's where you get the podcast. You can also go to Stitcher. You can go to iTunes. You can go to Google Play. And if you want some extra content, you can go to patreon.com/The Weathered Soul Podcast. And you can always email me at brucetheweatheredsoul@gmail.com. And I would love to be able to comment to you, take your questions. But we got to go because we're going a little overtime and we might go a little extra time later.
Yeah.
So we just never know. So
Well, we started a little late.
we'll
Or
see
it
you
felt
again.
like it anyway.
We did feel like it. But anyway, so say good night, Dougie.
Good night, Dougie.
We're going to see you on the other side. For best results, squeeze from the bottom up.
That's good. We covered a lot of shit.
We got through all our freaking material.
Yeah.
That's impressive. That never happened.
I know.